Pev Instituost, Wanaxanash Tisiva. And my English name is Adeline, Spotted Elk. My Cheyenne name, which is my spirit name, is Wanaxanash, and that means young ceremonial woman. I was named after an elderly lady by the name of Julia Lone Elk. So that's where I got my name. I was born and raised here in Lame Deer. A long time ago, they used to send women to Crow Agency to have their babies. My older sister, she was 2 years older than me. My mom had her, my mom delivered her in our log house that my dad built, and she was born breech. So that she was born at home and there was no complications. And I've lived here all my life. I left for school, Idaho, when I was about 12 years old. Stayed there a whole year. And after that, I just started roaming around, going to school, checking out the world out there. And I've always wanted to come back because this is where my heart is. This is my homeland. And that's why I wanted to talk about my great-grandfather, Chief Little Wolf. And then on that's my grandmother's ancestor. I mean my mom's ancestor. And then on my dad's side, there's a chief there too, Chief Spotted Elk. And then on my mom's maternal side, there's a Chief Powderface. So with that, coming from 3 chiefs, people always really want to belong to chiefs' families. It has a high status, but it's also really difficult to live a lifestyle coming from chiefs, because I was always told when I was growing up, bite your tongue, don't say anything bad to people. And I got really good at biting my tongue throughout my whole life. And which is a good thing, I think, because when you say some hurtful words to another person, you can never take them back. And there's a lot of teachings, I think, that go along with being born into family of chiefs. You always have to forgive, turn the other cheek. Somebody does harm to you, your family members, you walk away and then you turn around and pray for them. Anyway, that's what I was always told, and I remember he said that my older sister, Agnes Wilson, and my older sister, Cora Prairie Bear, Spotted Elk, they were always telling me, be quiet, don't say anything. So I got pretty good at that too, and people used to always say, how come you're so quiet? I said, well, I can't say anything. I guess you have to assess situations. Can't be really aggressive or be way out there forward, showing off, bragging. Anyway, when the Cheyenne started their walk back up north, it's here, no down. My great-grandmother was maybe somewhere between 4 and 8 years old. Her name's Lydia Wildhawk. Her dad, Chief Little Wolf, was best friends with Wildhawk. So she married Bert Wildhawk. That was the older Wildhawk's son. Yeah, she was between 4 and 8 years old on that walk when they started out from Oklahoma. And I've been to this one place at Punished Woman's Fort Battlefield. Anyway, that's where, that was the second battle that they encountered coming across. And then they made their escape. There's a cave there. There's a big old hole on top. That's where they made their escape. And every time I go there, well, I've only been there twice, but twice that I always think about that my great-grandmother, how young she was, and I always think, geez, she was probably scared. She was probably hungry, thirsty, tired, exhausted. And as well as the other children that were traveling with them. So I always be really thankful when I go to places like that, places where midst the most our ancestors. And she made it up this way. Her name was, her Cheyenne name was Mahaya. I mean, this translated to him.
Above God? Above?
Mahaya.
Oh, woman God.
Woman God, and
yeah.
Mahaya. And I don't know of anybody that has her name to this day. I think she had another name too, Day Woman. Shiva. But Lydia, as she got old, after this reservation was established in 1884, for some reason she always wanted to go to Wyoming. She lived in Sheridan, Wyoming. And Chief Little Wolf apparently had a son in probably Shoshone country or Arapaho country. But there's stories of him walking over there to go visit a son, Chief Little Wolf. So Lydia moved to Sheridan, and she got hit by a car downtown Sheridan. I can't remember what year it was, somewhere in the 1940s, I think. But that's where she lost her life, was in Sheridan. And they always say that Chief Little Wolf, when they were coming across, he was like 59 years old, and he was the fastest runner in the tribe. He would give up his horse. He would let the little ones ride it, or maybe the old ones, and they would be running on the side. Hey, young man, me, And then when I was growing up, then I mentioned I always heard about this man, Okupakit, but I never knew, I never knew what kind of a man he was. I didn't know he was a chief. I didn't know he led our people back from Namaste, Oklahoma. Till I started studying my history, probably when I was about 30 years old. But I still remember those stories. They were all told in Cheyenne. My mom, my aunts, my grandmother's cousins, they all talked about him. And what a great man he was. And then on my dad's side, my great-grandfather, Chief Spotted Elk. I think it was kind of more with the Southern Cheyennes. He signed a treaty with the Southern Cheyennes in 1867, but that treaty was never ratified. So I'm thinking that he kind of lived among the Southern Cheyennes. But I was reading in a book that when the Cheyennes were down in, were removed to Oklahoma, and they started getting sick, and they were making plans to come back up this way. That book said Chief Spotted Elk was the first Northern Cheyenne chief to die down there of sickness. So to this day, I'm always want to find out. Maybe he's buried down there somewhere. I gotta get into my genealogy about that. But his and then my grandfather, Chief Spotted Elk, was my great-grandfather. My grandfather, Charles Spotted Elk, Howish. He was a survivor of Sand Creek. He was a toddler. He was still breastfed, so maybe about 2-3 years old. And he had a older sister, about 8 years old, 7-8 years old. When that battle started, right away the parents were killed. The parents were killed, and or grandparents. And the little sister took Howish down to the creek. They ran to the creek, and there was some riverbeds. And they there was a duck there waiting there, and they were hiding in there. And then towards evening, my grandfather got really hungry. So the little sister took him to their mother. Well, the mother was dead, but my grandfather got to nurse on her, got to get full. So when I go down there, down to Sand Creek, I always think about him. And he fought at the Battle of Little Bighorn. Charles, he was only about 13 years old. He was a sharpshooter. And then on my mom's dad, I think he was part Arapaho. I don't know if it's southern or northern, but he was a chief powderface. And so I really want to look into that part too. So like Tomat, Donut, And somebody from my family might be interested in finding out about their history, about their ancestors. And they'll know that they come from those chiefs' family. Maybe that will help them with their identity. Because the way it's going, his dad's that's it though. Tis amanio, does it is called one. It's like our Cheyenne way of life is disappearing. Our language is already disappearing. But it's good to know that our languages won't actually be dead. They'll be sleeping, just waiting to be waking up. So that's kind of a hopeful future, I think, for survival of our language. They predict that the two surviving languages are going to be Spanish and English. But I hope for us, this is us, so I hope it's Cheyenne. And myself, that's why I'm really interested in preserving what we still have. I'm not saying that it's going to disappear, but just in case, it's good to have all that documentation and preservation, and I just really want to encourage others to do the same. And, reviving our language starts with the kiddies. They're so eager to learn, and I think we should just speak it to them on a daily basis. That's how kids learn. They just naturally pick it up. It doesn't need to be in a classroom setting. They had the I think we just need to put more effort into that. Now, it's Chief Dolomite College. Matimahe ame. Otsayetsia, Matapo ame. Mahe ame Duxton no Duxtis. Sa no Tihan no Tihan no Tihan. It won't leave us, this language won't leave us. They always say that Cheyenne language is a sacred language. And I believe it because it can warn ho maayan wake nania tanoa hintusist. Not give it out the monos. The spirits don't understand English, so that's why it's important when we pray that we pray in Cheyenne. But anyway, that's what I was always told. And, to be able to pray like that, it took me about 10, 15 years, but I just kept trying, and I kept going to where prayers were being said, and I caught on from listening to others pray, and there's some powerful Cheyenne words and prayers. And then I was told that this world is controlled by spirits, Maya. Man doesn't control this world. It took me a while to figure that out too, but I know it's true. Now, habang naman in the midst, coming from chiefs, families, because when my maybe suspicious activity, and we were gonna get the law involved. But my brother Abraham told us we couldn't do that. So I was really bitter. I was angry at him. But I didn't understand where he was coming from. But today I understand, because sabevahan ko edis mata itanasto. Namata edis sitam swustan. Take wish. Hafso motano namata take wish. Hafsivitanasto. But now I'm thankful, I'm fortunate, I'm grateful that I come from these chiefs. They themselves were good examples. They set some good examples, putting the needs of their people before them. Na hesta me so usotnes ke vestapten no se apa den nan was den het she says ja so to wanat dit so we het ni mache wat na ha na hoste tak be wat stan no. Some, they prefer their influence by the Western world. But I respect their choice. But for me, I'm tired of living in two worlds. I want to live in my Cheyenne world. I just take what I need from the Western world and leave the rest alone. Now, how about asinish? What's it done now? It is tas. The good se mona tikishit. The mahash was done have of the jamax. Map. I just so
Start trying that.
My great-grandfather's Cheyenne name on my dad's side was Mo'ho'ahast, spotted elk. And then there's Howish, snipe, which means snipe, a bird. And then my dad's Cheyenne name is oh yes, it means top knot. I guess I used to make some kind of knot by their forehead before they went to ceremony. So that's what it was called. Oh yes. I don't know if anybody that has that name either. And then on my mother's side there's Okomcha and Hitmaya, Hi'oniva, my grandmother, my mother's mom. And my mom's Cheyenne name is it's the one Buffalo woman. And I think those are really beautiful Cheyenne names. So we try to, in our family, we try to do our best to carry on those names somehow, because there are our spirit names. And then I don't know too much about, I do know about Fort Robinson outbreak. And I think the only relative that I had over there was he said that magpie not doesn't. So what's this right? I forgot his name. The one not. Anyway, that's another place that I like to go for healing. Healing has to take place on both sides. Get rid of all that bitterness, animosity. because I think that that really affects the circle of life, where it's not a circle anymore. A race is standing outside somewhere. I don't know what race that is, but when Mahaya created the 4 colors of man, he meant for them to always be in a circle. No beginning, no end. But the way things are, it's Nivas, anos, many sa beho yoto. Na, about I don't know which race that is. No, mamatike am ha, always pray for understanding. Open up your mind and be receptive to answers, to solutions. Na tekhuaf. Abona se ame otsutano. It isn't there ame maham de doxtomat. This Niditame tens san mahayo. Goma mata hoe tit zindonia donia. Our ancestors will understand us when we speak to them, because they don't understand English, and they might ask me questions. They might even ask me, what did you do to save the language? I want to be able to say I saved it. Nahane.